And in addition to validating and verifying the money is actually being given to these organizations, so people who gave will see what the benefit was, I would imagine it also helps many of these, what are probably pretty small organizations, get some extra push too. They probably fundraise off of that. You know, they get the initial hit from you guys, and then people say, well, hey, they're being supported by NVCF. They're obviously legit. They're helping. Let me give some money to them as well. So it probably is a booster rocket, in a sense, to their own fundraising, I would imagine.
I hope so. I think, you know, there's a reason storytelling has just been with humans all along. You know, the power of it was very obvious. It's how we used to teach each other things,
Sure,
you know?
Absolutely.
So I've always been a believer in the power of storytelling, and I think one thing we've been able to do with our capacity in the wake of this fire is tell their stories for them by not only funding them, but by saying this is a legitimate organization, and if you care about this particular element of the recovery in the campfire, this is the group we've found doing it. And my hope is that having a storyteller like the Community Foundation is helpful. At the moment, I think anytime we have the opportunity to keep the light here and awareness here on what's happened, it's going to be good for the region because, you know, to your point, there's a lot going on in the world. There's a lot of things that can distract us, and those of us in the North State know that we're still trying to figure out how to put the pieces back together. We're not on to some other disaster. We're not, you know, thinking about a lot of other things. At least I'm not. We're thinking about the children here. We're thinking about the long-term implications of trauma. We're thinking about public safety. We're thinking about all sorts of things.
Yeah, and it is. I mean, this is where we are. I mean, we're here in the North State. There's stuff going on all over the world, as you say, but this is what we can do.
Right.
This is what we can leverage. These are the neighbors of ours that we can help, and it's really rewarding to be able to do that.
Yeah,
you know, I mean, it's not easy work. I would imagine that, you know, we talked about a little bit about the hours that are invested for yourself and for your team. I mean, but it's rewarding work. You know, I mean, we think about work many times, and I refer to it as well of making money, and we all have to make money. We all have to survive and feed ourselves and keep a roof over our heads so we can do other things. But when you can, you know, primarily work to help others, you know, through an organization like NVCF, I would imagine it's extremely rewarding to have that be your day-to-day, as I mentioned before.
I think so. I mean, I've thought about how difficult it would be to grapple with something like this without something specifically I could be doing. And to probably a fault, I want to move into action right away. You know, I think there's some value in reflection and going internal and understanding what am I experiencing and why. But I'm a doer, I'm a fixer, I'm a problem solver by nature. That's how I play out my experience here. And so to be able to have a vehicle to do that was really useful, I think, for me and for our team, to be able to like literally dive in and say, this is what we're going to do. Yeah. We're going to transform overnight and be this organization, and we're going to do, and you know, oftentimes I would say we're going to do the next thing right in front of us as best as we can with the information we have. And I will stand by that because that's the tragedy we're in. You just literally can do the very next thing. And now all these months later, 4 months later, we're able to, I think, take a step back and say, as we move forward, we've launched the Butte Strong Fund. We can be more strategic with our investments, and we've done things like invested in the town of Paradise, the planning. We've made huge investments in the schools. We're over $3.5 million invested in the schools for the children, for counseling, for all sorts of things within the schools. And I think it gives you, you know, I know it gives me just great hope to be able to work and do that. And hope that the outcome is positive for some people.
Yeah.